Hello, Theory Hub is back here. After many days of waiting, Dragon City has finally aired. Many of you might think this game is hard to theorize about. Who would theorize about a dragon breeding game? Well, you're right. A game where all you do is hatch eggs and raise dragons on a large island doesn't lend itself easily to storytelling. So I've been brooding for a long time to make a video about this game. It wasn't until today, after gathering enough inspiration from all over Reddit, that I could make this video. I've researched dragon mythology from east to west to determine the origins of the dragons in Dragon City and the hidden stories behind this world. All of this has been compiled into a completely fictional theory. Welcome back, dreamers, to the Theory Hub, where we discuss things that probably won't happen. But hey, at least it's fun, right? And I'm Lander. Let's dive into Dragon City. Dragon City once dominated the mobile game market, along with Candy Crush. Everyone was encouraging each other to raise dragons, but many of you might not remember where this game originated from. Dragon City was launched by Social Point on Facebook in May 2012, during the peak of social network games. The gameplay of Dragon City is very simple and easy to get used to. You will build a dragon world, starting from hatching eggs, nurturing them, and having them fight with other players' dragons. The dragons on the island are divided into many elements, such as earth, fire, water, leaf, electric, ice, metal, dark, light, warrior, legendary, etc. Each element has rules of mutual restraint. For example, earth restrains electric, dark restrains leaf, fire restrains ice. During the nurturing process, you need to monitor the development of the dragons. Depending on the type, they require different kinds of food and environments. Proper arrangement will determine the rapid growth of dragons, and you can earn more gold. You can breed dragons by combining 2, 3, or 4 different elements. The longer the breeding time, the higher the rarity of the dragon. When fed enough, dragons will develop different forms. Especially high-level dragons not only have beautiful appearances, but also significantly increased power. When you have battle dragons, you can bring them to the arena to show off their strength and majesty. Dragon City quickly built its own community with millions of players. The game was later released on 2 mobile platforms, Android and iOS. To date, Dragon City has attracted over 80 million players who care for their dragons day and night. Although it developed on mobile, at its first home on Facebook, Dragon City witnessed a sharp decline. All good things must come to an end. And on a fine day, Social Point announced that they would unplug the servers of Dragon City on Facebook from February 2nd, 2020, ending the life of this 8-year-old game. Although the game has succeeded on mobile, shutting down an outdated version is understandable. That's enough introduction. Now let's get into the wild theories related to Dragon City. By now you must be quite relaxed, so if I go overboard, I won't take responsibility. First, I have some questions about this Dragon City game. First is about the origins of these dragons. Who created them and what is their role in this world? Looking back at the journey of dragons, I feel there are 2 particularly special systems, the ancient and the primordial systems. This means that dragons in this world have existed since ancient times, and the primordial dragons are their ancestors. Based on some rare information from the story in Dragon City released by the producers, I discovered an interesting fact about the primordial dragons. In July 2018, Dragon City launched an in-game event, the Race to Dragonverse. The Brazil dragon is the protector of the Dragonverse forest, maintaining the balance of nature in this forest. A machine drained the dragon's energy, causing it to lose all vitality and no longer retain its power. The tree of life in the center of the forest is dying, severely affecting the surrounding environment. So what is this tree of life that is so important to this forest? The tree of life is a giant tree that mysteriously grew from a magical seed given by the goddess Gaia. It acts as a bridge between worlds, and one of the important places it leads to is Dragonverse. Dragonverse is a world between universes and the ancestral home of all dragons. This is also where primordial dragons like the Brazil dragon I mentioned earlier originate. Next, another question of mine about Dragon City is about the goddess Gaia. Who discovered the land of Dragon City? In ancient stories, after traveling across the universe, the goddess Gaia found the homeland of dragons. The goddess Gaia got stuck there and couldn't return. However, thanks to the seed she left behind, the tree of life was planted, and when it grew, it became the tree of life. Thanks to that, the goddess Gaia could return. Looking at the name Gaia, I can't help but think of the Mother Earth goddess in Greek mythology. In Dragon City, The deity symbolizing light is Deus, and the deity symbolizing darkness is Nerobus. If these two gods are not inspired by Zeus and Hades in Greek mythology, then I'm sure I'm wrong. Finally, I will summarize once again the key points my theory needs to address. First, dragons have existed long before people started breeding them. Second, Dragonverse is the cradle of dragons, also the birthplace of primordial dragons. And finally, the world was almost destroyed by the invasion of the giant snail tribe. Luckily, the dragons saved humanity in time. Now I will tell you a mythical story about the world of dragons in Dragon City, inspired by the story of the dragon monster Typhon in Greek mythology. In Greek mythology, Typhon is the strangest and most terrifying monster, as it has a human form, but possesses hundreds of different snake tails. Typhon is the last child of the goddess Gaia, the Mother Earth goddess. When defeating the Titan gods, the child of the goddess Gaia and the Abyss god gave birth to Typhon. Typhon carried the intent of revenge and aimed to take over the throne on Mount Olympus. Typhon is the father of many famous monsters, such as the nine-headed Hydra, the Cerberus monster guarding the underworld. Typhon has a gigantic stature, reaching up to the stars. The lower part of Typhon's body is hundreds of snake tails. On its fingers are large dragon heads, and Typhon has wings that can block out the sun. The scariest thing about Typhon is the fire emanating from its eyes, causing all creatures to fear and lose their will. In the battle with Zeus, Typhon threw fireballs like meteors at Zeus, but the thunder god dodged them. From Mount Olympus, Zeus threw thunderbolts at Typhon's head, causing him to fall to the ground. Finally, Zeus defeated Typhon and imprisoned him under a volcano. Many people believe that every time a volcano erupts, it's because Typhon is raging and trying to escape his prison. So how does this story of Typhon relate to Dragon City? I believe that in ancient times there was a sky-shaking battle between the gods and an extremely evil force. From the dawn of the universe, there existed two forces, light and darkness. Both opposed each other but created balance for the universe. One day, light and darkness formed their own shapes. The god representing light is Deus, and the god representing darkness is Nerobus. The war between the two brothers erupted. Deus wanted the universe to be filled with light, while Nerobus wanted it to be engulfed in darkness. Both plunged into a battle that shook the universe. The energy from the battle created the goddess Gaia. Gaia, wise and knowledgeable, sought to resolve the conflict between the two brothers. Thanks to Gaia, the conflict gradually subsided, and the three together ruled and maintained the balance of the universe. One day, they discovered a mystical land where elves, fairies, unicorns, and wizards lived. The leader of this land was Servold, the last descendant of the ancient primordial dragon lineage. When the three gods arrived, Servold and the inhabitants here warmly welcomed them, passing on the knowledge of dragon magic, and peaceful life ensued. However, a dark force, the giant snail tribe, invaded. They were so powerful that no one could stop them, not even the three gods, or the strongest wizards. In this situation, Servold created the first warrior dragon. With a mighty dragon army, the three gods defeated the giant snail tribe and liberated this land. This place was called Dragon City. Deus decided to stay and rule Dragon City. Gaia wanted to travel across the universe to discover new dragon species. The tree of life that Servold planted became the bridge between worlds. Gaia brought the tree of life back to Dragon City and began telling stories of her discoveries. And that is our entire theory about the real storyline of Dragon City. Thank you very much for patiently watching the whole video. If you like our theories, please leave a number 1. If there's anything you're not satisfied with, don't hesitate to share it with us, and don't forget to suggest topics you want to see from Theory Hub so we can serve you better. This is Lander from the Theory Hub, wishing you all a great day.